think some of them still have that, they both still have that mindset of keep the man entertained, which is such BS to me. I don't like it at all. I don't like the mentality that a man should be more into a woman. That nonsense, that's very old style thinking. It ruins relationships to think like that. Hi everyone, welcome back to No Light Time. My name is Hallie. So grateful to have you all. Let's get into this reading. I'm really excited to have you all. I'm going to be covering Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. Some of you have asked me to cover them, and a member asked me to cover them, so I'll be doing that right now. Please make sure that you are subscribed, you like the video, and you comment below. I would love to hear your opinion. Please don't be rude or disrespectful. I tell personal stories in this. If that's not your jam, then find another reader, please. Also, I have a colleague that is in hospital. He was diagnosed with cancer. We're trying to help pay for his cancer treatment, so please check out in the donation box below. It is in Spanish, but you can just translate through Google. Some Spanish words are very similar to English, so if you don't understand it, you can just look at donear, stuff like that, so to donate. Okay, let's get into this reading. One more thing, I have 2 memberships available. Check out the membership tab for that. So I'm using the Good Tarot, love this tarot deck for this. I'm going to pull up the chart in just a moment. Just want to show you the tarot deck. So lots of you asked me for the tarot deck that I use. So Jeff Bezos, his sun is in Capricorn, moon is in Sagittarius, and Venus is in Aquarius. Makes a lot of sense that his Venus is in Aquarius. I'll explain to you why. The sun in Sagittarius, moon in Taurus, and Venus in Sagittarius. So automatically from their chart, I get the strong energy that I always think Aquarius and Sagittarius are a very good match. In fact, my best ex, he was a Sagittarius, and Aquarius, because I'm a son of Aquarius, and Aquarius and Sagittarius, we just get along very well in general in relationships. Friendships, not so much, but in relationships, I've had very good, positive interactions with Sagittarius. Okay, so let's get into the reading. Actually, I just remember now, one of my old bosses in New York, she was from Seattle, and she used to live in Seattle, and she worked for Jeff Bezos. She was one of his first employees, which is so insane to me. I should tell about that story. They had tons of money. She wasn't the nicest person, I will tell you that. But yeah, I used to work for her and her husband in New York, and their friends were like, this is the place where I used to meet a lot of A-listers and stuff like that. So it was all old money, people that were deeply tied into Hollywood and so forth. He never came by, which was interesting, maybe because he wasn't in New York. But basically, she made she told me the story. I don't know if it's true, but she said that she got paid in stocks when she was first starting out because he had no money. He didn't have that much money yet, so she owns Amazon stocks. That's why she used to be so rich, which is really cool. But I can only imagine working for Amazon in the beginning. It must have been hell. But anyways, just fun story aside, that my old boss used to be one of the first employees. She said there were 5 of them when I started, and she wasn't very nice herself. She was not nice at all, actually, but it's okay. I still appreciate the lesson of working for her. Okay, so let's get into this. After pulling up the charts, I pulled up past, present, and future. And with past, I get 6 of so I have a strong feeling that he was very interested in her. She wasn't really that interested in him. He looked at her, especially being Sun of Capricorn. A lot of Sun of Capricorns, they like people that are good at their work ethic. And I think he saw her work. I think they said she was a TV anchor, weather anchor, something like that. But I see him watching her and him being impressed by her work ethic. And just taken aback by her. And yeah, I think it's very sweet. We are going to get into something that I think is a red flag in a relationship, but I don't want this reading to come from a negative place, because this is what we can learn from situations. So, with the present being the Hierophant, I think she wants to set a wedding date, but he is very nonchalant type, you know. And this goes into the whole modern relationships with men with a lot of money, you know, and how you handle it and how you deal with it. And them being Gen X, well, she's Gen X. I don't know if he's Gen X or Boomer. I think he's the beginning of Gen X. But them being of an older generation, I think some of them still have that, they both still have that mindset of keep the man entertained, you know, which is such BS to me. I don't like it at all. I don't like the mentality that a man should be more into a woman. That nonsense, that's very old style thinking. It ruins relationships to think like that. I think that there should be genuine respect for one another, and both people should be working on themselves, and that's what makes a relationship work. It's not about lust, because that's what lust is, when somebody's more into you than you're into them. You know? So she kind of plays games with him. This is very Sun Sagittarius. Where she plays games with him to make him seem interested. So she might flirt with other guys. She might say like, I think he's cute. What do you think about that? You know? Oh my gosh. I met this couple the other day. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story, because this reminds me of what I'm talking about. So I met this couple the other day. I'm not going to say how. And the guy was talking to me, and he was like, "You're so pretty." And I thought she reminded me of Kelly Dodd from Real Housewives. And Kelly Dodd's one of my favorite housewives from Real Housewives. And I was going to tell her, I think she's so pretty. You know, I love giving women props. And I was going to tell her, you know, you're so pretty. And you remind me of Kelly Dodd, who's my favorite housewife. One of my favorite housewives. And then her husband, I think, could catch that I tend to, and when I meet a couple, I like to be more aligned with a woman, because I'm a girl's girl, you know. I don't like to flirt with men, especially women's husbands, stuff like that. I just don't do it, you know. I don't date married men. I don't date men with girlfriends. I just don't, you know. So if a guy has a marriage ring, absolutely not. So the guy, I think, caught wind of this, and I don't think he could handle her getting more attention than him, because we're getting along, you know. And I was about to tell her, literally, I was about to say, oh my god, you look like Kelly Dodd, because we're having a great conversation. We're talking about, she's from Arizona, and we're having a great conversation. I told her I used to live in West Coast. I didn't like it. She was like, yeah, I understand. You're more real. You are East Coast. And I was like, yeah, I'm such an East Coaster. We're getting along very, very well. And then he interjected. He was like, aren't you so pretty to me? And I felt like he was weaponizing it against her. And I just thought, oh my gosh. I mean, I played it up and I was like, yeah, I mean, I think the same about both of you. I was actually going to say that she's so beautiful. And he was like, no, but you are very beautiful. And I just thought, he's weaponizing me in this relationship to make her seem down. And that's what I see her doing with him. She weaponizes younger, probably more attractive men, less financially well off. She weaponizes them to make him feel less than. I can see that very strongly. And because she does that, he's not fully ready to commit. I'm not sure he ever will. So with High Priestess, the Tower, and Ten of Wands, we're going to hear something of her moving out or something like that. It's not a good relationship. It's not a healthy relationship. It's very passionate, very, you know, they thrive off one another's traumas. And that's the difference between a passionate relationship and one that works. And I found the longest, except for my longest relationship, other than that, my longest relationships have been very healthy. I'm very grateful. where we've ended amicably. You know, we haven't said mean things about each other. It's been healthy. And I only say that to say that it doesn't have to be nasty. Relationships don't have to be a ground for war. And I think that that's the old way of doing things. You know, people that have had parents that stayed together for years and years and years and they hate each other. Or parents that got divorced, like mine, that mostly my mother hates my dad and speaks ill of the other parent when they're not around. You know, it doesn't have to be nasty. We can, as a collective, decide to be respectful for each other, especially if you have children with that person, and choose to take the higher road. And I know it sounds foreign and it's a hard concept to swallow, but it is possible. It really, really is. As somebody myself that's had toxic relationships and has had healthy relationships are possible, but they require inner growth, which sometimes, I don't know, some people say it's too late for certain people. At a certain age you just stop, but I think that's people giving up. I don't think you're ever too old. I don't think you're ever, one of my mentors says you're never too old, you're never too this, you're never too that to start again. And I strongly believe that you're never too old to have a healthy relationship and to grow and to have habits, even though science, whatever, they come up with a lot of the science, I don't believe it. But I believe if you want to make a consecutive choice about something, you can achieve it. But with this relationship, they are toxic for one another. It's very passionate. Then they fight. I see them fighting. It's just too much. And I think it's the opposite of what he had before. I think his relationship before, I don't know her name, but she seems very to the book, very quiet, didn't really say that much. When she got divorced, she went away quietly. But he wanted to feel alive again, and he wanted to be with this woman that other men might be after, especially being a nerd, if you've ever been around nerds. A lot of nerds in school, they feel like they have something to prove when they get out of school, because a lot of nerds are not liked in school. And I think he felt like he had something to prove by being with a woman like her, that finally he won. He has all these billions, but finally. But he never really won anything. Because having people's approval is not a prize. So with the future being Ace of Water, which is Ace of Cups, I see him moving on to somebody else. A younger woman. And I'm not laughing because of that, because I have dated older men with money. It's not always about that. But his personality type, I don't think he's the most genuine person, and kind of like phony type. Transformation, Fortune's Wheel, and Ten of Earth. Kind of like phony type. He's going to date a younger. She's blonde. I'm not saying blonde is bad. I've dyed my hair different colors, and I've been blonde mostly. So I'm not saying being blonde is bad. It's just that it fits into the stereotype of what he's going for. Ultimately, he wants like a bimbo trophy wife, which I think he thought Lauren would be, but she's not. In fact, she flips it on him, and she's a trophy wife with spice, She flips it on him and makes him the derogatory one, like that I gave that example because it reminded me of that. Is that when she feels threatened, she flirts with other men, she's got sass. She's sassy, and it doesn't do well with his personality, especially as a sun in Capricorn. Doesn't do well. So that's what I have for you guys. I love you all. Please comment below. I would love to hear your opinion. And like the video. Make sure you're subscribed. Take care.